How about it for Terri Apple, everybody? Yeah, there she is in
Hi,
Hollywood.
in Hollywood.
Hello, hello. Yeah. Terri Apple, your voice has been on. I always feel like you're really just sort of top of the game. Your voice has been on all kinds of commercial campaigns, and it's sort of been. It's had a ubiquitous quality. It's on everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we're in a new world now where people may not even need a Terri Apple. I mean, I'm talking about commercial
Yeah.
enterprises that say, hey, we want somebody who sounds like Terry, but we can't afford Terri Apple. So we'll have AI generate a voice similar to Terri Apple. That's kind of what happened with Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah, but here's what's interesting, Mark. I think we've been dealing with it behind the scenes for so long. There is, when you're doing commercials and they can't afford Mark Thompson, they're like a Mark Thompson. Everybody in the public doesn't see what we see on scripts. When I was on every single commercial, it was, we want a Terri Apple, but they would not go with a Terri Apple. I had a huge situation I was doing with Barbara Travolta. It was the California cheese commercials with the cows. And she says, let's go chew up the cut on the back 40. And I say, what's the hurry? Hit the snooze. That was on air like 8 years. It won a ton of awards. It was on air. All of a sudden I find out they've supposedly replaced my voice. I've had this personal experience for a long time. I was thinking about it. Besides from the AI perspective, this has happened forever. Unless you get to celebrity status, which even if I did achieve that in voiceover world, I tried to take that to SAG-AFTRA to go fight it and say, guys, this is not me. They're using a sound-alike. And no, it was the opposite. I said, guys, this is me. That's my voice. They're using they said, no, a sound-alike of you. I never got paid a dime. It's still playing in every component on the computer. So we've been dealing with this for a long time. I guarantee you, I was reading about what Sam Altman said, the CEO of the AI platform for Scarlett Johansson. They were courting her for a number of months. I guarantee you they offered her a deal, but they were going to have to pay her a certain number of residuals, go into a contract. They were then going to steal from her voice anyway. There's no doubt they weren't. If they have the technology to do that, they were going to use her and then lift it, because there's no rule that you can't lift something. For them to say we were never going after us, it was just another voice actor. Mark, that it said on there a Scarlett Johansson voice. Because if I got that said, like Scarlett Johansson, my voice would immediately go into the world of that. We don't want Scarlett Johansson. And come on, think about it when you get hired. I've been hired to loop films in post-production. Demi Moore available. They hired Terri Apple. Now, there was nothing illegal about it. I was being paid, but Demi wasn't available. You know what I mean? So this really has been going on in this world for a very long time. There is a new thing that just passed in September that Fran Drescher said she was really happy about, that it's the only AI studio that's gone into business with SAG-AFTRA, saying they're not going to lift and steal voices. They're going to only use from actors. I also find it hard to believe that that the AI platform is saying they hired another actor. You don't need an actor. I hate to cut my own throat off here. You really don't need another actor in AI. So, I mean, what you're getting is a vocal quality and mood, which is everything I say voiceovers are anything. Anyway, I listen to somebody doing excited, like, hi, welcome to Siri. Forget Siri because that's a real person. But I'm so excited today. In voiceovers, you have to match the mood, which then lends itself to the vocal quality. Not all voice actors get that. You can't go excited, upbeat, California avocados, they're as good as you've heard. You can't go that and go, California avocados, they're as good as you've heard. It doesn't match the mood. So AI is all technical and taking moods to then sell spots. I don't think it's going to take over. It might take over digital advertising, but I think it's already changed the residual spectrum and the way they run. You know, the cycles of run have not been the same for probably 3-4 years, where a voiceover campaign used to go 8-10 years. It now goes one cycle, which is 13 weeks, moves on to something else.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Wow, that was a really great breakdown that all of us just got as to what voiceover performance is. And then you got right at the end toward what voiceover performance is as a living. And you're
Yeah.
suggesting, I think, when you talk about the cycles, that
Yeah.
they pay a cycle and
Yeah.
that gets them out of residuals. I mean, and they can, if voice actors now can be impersonated by AI, that part of it, which could be expensive from a residual standpoint, that part of it's eliminated. So it becomes free. It really represents, but you also just made the distinction. You said, well, I don't think it's really going to replace voice actors. On some level, it will, though, won't it, Terry? It
Yeah.
may not replace all of them, but
Yeah. Well, here's what's going to happen, though. You have to have, first of all, if you're think of all the different ad agencies in the world. Okay, you can break it down because voiceovers, Mark, we know fall into so many different categories. You've got the commercial world, which is television and radio up to 60 seconds. Okay, that's the commercial world only. Narration, anything over 60 seconds. Looping, which is going in and being the background on a movie, that may be taken over. So instead of Barbara Harris, having a loop group or any of these loop groups that are paying every voice actor a session fee, union session fee, then maybe that's going to be out the window, because for me to go, hey, Tom, nice to see you, or, a background thing that's looping, that may be out the window. It might be much easier and much cheaper to just go in and do that. But it's like, okay, so imagine green screen for an on-camera thing. You don't have to go run to Brooklyn and then to Prague and then to wherever if you've got a green screen and you can make it realistic enough. What I don't think you're going to be able to change is the humanity of the voice. If you're using it to promote an item or to sell for business, but I don't think you're going to get it. We really haven't figured where it falls into the commercial world. My cousin's a real big mucky muck in the audiobook world. Carly Robbins, she and Hillary Huber are huge. Will that be replaced? Well, you can go on to ChatGPT and you can listen. Instead of me writing a script, Mark, we can go and go, okay, I want to write about this guy that lives in LA and, is in so they will come up with an entire format. But I talked to two really big mucky mucks that are huge. Michael Bay was one of them, and there was somebody else. They said they've been using ChatGPT at the studios for like 5 years and nobody knows it. Now, they haven't stopped using writers, but what they'll do is they'll go and use that to go through and edit and come up with a concept and an idea. They won't replace a writer with it. But as this gets bigger and bigger, it depends. I mean, I see it, you already see it happening with the animation world, live action, when it's big things like Jennifer Lopez's new movie, Atlas. A lot of that's got to be ChatGPT, and a lot of that's got to be just these voices doing that. But there is no law.
Now, why do you say that? Because so much money is above the line with Jennifer Lopez that you can't afford other actors in the company. Why do you say you have to know so much of it is AI?
Well, and you don't need it. I just watched the trailer on it. It's all green screen. It's just Jennifer Lopez. She's not in space. Writing
she's not.
They spent so much money on that, Mark. That is the first movie. $500 million. She and Elon Musk went to space. They shot there. They left her poster on the. Listen,
wow.
If anybody was going to do it,
please
she's actually pretty good in it. I have to say it.
Only break one illusion at a time, if you would, please.
Yeah. Thank you, sorry.
No,
yeah.
Go ahead, but you were just saying that in that instance and others like it, you're saying so much, and I love that you started with the script thing, because you bring in a real writer and they can do a polish, or they can rework, or they can do a heavy edit on something that was generated originally by AI. So you can say, oh, ChatGPT will come up with a C-level script. Yeah, they'll come up with a C-level script that somebody who is actually good can turn into an A-level script. I mean, it's kind of awful that the studios can now use that technology, but it sounds like it's here to stay.
Let me break another illusion. Behind the scenes, that's been going on for years as well. I wrote something called the Rocky Marciano. My buddy was going after the rights. I had the rights to things in the past, but I really wanted to be involved with this. Rocky Marciano, the only undefeated fighter. And I had the rights to somebody named Aaron Pryor prior to that. No pun intended. Long story short, I rewrote that script probably 20 times. I made a deal. It was my deal that I did it. I wasn't in the writers union. The bottom line is it's sitting at Jeremy Renner's company. It'll probably never get made, but there were if you think the illusion that you're going to write a fabulous script and on that first script or your first run at anything is going to be the thing that gets into studio that you then get full credit, even if you create a fabulous TV show, somebody else comes on board and you're lucky if you ended up with co-creator or showrunner status or just writing a few episodes. You have to think realistically in this business, and we all have to be team players. You're never, even with the script business, even if you're lucky, if it's a studio film, but I'm not real, there's all these independent, you're better off going streaming now and making it for as cheap as you can and having them see a fabulous product going, what, how'd you do that? Even in the commercial world, it's better. They're better buying cycle of runs from like a cool little 30-second spot. Nobody's buying 60-second spots anymore, 15 and 30, and everything in the world is branding. But I think the end of the day is really your imprint on something, what ends up being at the end. The voice does stay, although think about it. Technically, you're talking about your sound issue. I'm thinking to myself, Mark, that's a sound engineer's problem. That's not your problem. You're just the talent. But when you're wearing all the hats, that's the problem. But
when you're a one-man band, right?
When you're running in bed, so we're auditioning for something, we're reading. It has specs on it. It says like a Demi Moore, like a Julia Roberts, or it will say warm, smoky, hip. I then have to emulate that. This business. There's 30 of us that sounds similar. So if we don't think everybody in a room, I walked in, everybody used to say to me, oh, I can do Terri Apple. Your house is so hot. I said, well, gee, then go be me. and I'm just an actor. So what I was doing was just moods, and then going, and changing it up. Next on Fox Sports. It's all mood. But yes, I don't think people are going to just steal and take if they create a new voice out of it. But look what they're doing when they're building robots and people. They're emulating Elle Macpherson, but with Scarlett Johansson's, eyes. They're already doing this with everything.
Yeah, well, I think that what's interesting about that, and we're talking to Terri Apple, we're just in our last couple of minutes, and if you're just joining us, you started with a concept that I thought was interesting. You said, this has been going on for years. You just kind of revisited it a second ago. Yeah. But I thought you really made a good point when you say that, hey, when you look at a script, it'll say Morgan Freeman type read, or they'll even give you a reference for the read. They'll send you a YouTube link and you can listen to the read, the kind of read they want.
That's right.
In a sense, I never honestly really thought of that until you just made that point. And so this is a logical, technological outgrowth of that very phenomenon that you were talking about. I just don't know if we have any high ground then. Yeah.
Well, that's what okay, so it's just a new element on it. Lorenzo Music got negotiated out of doing Garfield. Remember Lorenzo? He was, if anybody doesn't remember, he actually created the Rhoda show. No one ever gives him enough credit. He was Carlton the doorman. Hello, this is Carlton the doorman. He came up to me once and said, you're the female version of me. And I go, and he's like this balding, older, and I'm like, really? Okay, I don't see it, but if you do. He meant voiceover wise, like because I became like the female Tom Bodette. But the bottom line was, he threw that in because it was supposed to be an on-camera actor, and he ended up doing it and got so famous. But he was Garfield the cat. He got left out. His agents negotiated him out of the deal for the next year. Well, that was just a sound-alike of him, just like me in the milk commercial, just like when I know that it's me. There's no fighting power. It's interesting that SAG-AFTRA is now saying, or was saying then, if you're a celebrity and your voice is lifted. So the term lifted is something different. That used to be that you actually did lay down the all-new BMW 5 Series. And they took that from a session, lifted it without your knowledge, and took, without paying you. This is something solely different. They can go, we want Terri Apple, but we don't want to pay her. We don't want to pay residuals. Tell me what she does have a hard fight. Biden,
Yeah.
there is a hard fight. The deep fakes, it's going to be tricky as can be. I do not know. That's what's scary to me.
Yeah, I think that I love that you brought it into the political realm, because I think that a lot of decisions that we're going to make as voters, and just in terms of our political leanings and our takes on things that are important to us, may be affected by completely concocted images and sounds. And the last thing, back to show business, because it's not just about show business. I really like that you referenced the deep fakes and the Biden thing. But back to show business, I would think that agents and managers would be very concerned with pushing back on this artificial intelligence created voice situation as well. I mean, otherwise, that's a lot of money going out the door to that technology. So
they're really huge on it. They've been fighting this since, they've been fighting this for at least 4 or 5 years. I remember I worked at a big agency, creative artist agency, when I first moved out to LA, but I'd done my first voiceover job at like 16, but I was working for a lit agent. I was like, why am I working for the lit agent? I want to work for talent. Anyway, it's good because I learned so much between my writing and acting. There was a memo that went around. Now, CAA was getting the messages way before anybody else. A message went around and I read it on, and it's that there's something called reality TV coming. Don't worry about it. It's going to be a flash in the pan. That was what went around CAA. And this was before Jim Carrey did that reality movie where he had a thing on him the whole time. And look what reality TV was. But did reality TV take over in a way? But I think what happened more is there became the streaming and reality division. But there's still scripted shows. They just created a new world to make money in there as well. It did not take over the entire world of scripted,
Yeah, no,
it
really
took some money out.
I'd love to see it settle into even that kind of place, because I think there's a real clear threat to, and we don't even know where the threats will end when it comes to AI. Hey, I love that you visited with us. Thank you. Let's make it a regular thing. You also wrote a book, like those people who are aspiring voiceover artists who think there might still be work that AI is not getting. I think you wrote a book about being a voiceover artist. So Google Terri's book. What's that? Why can't I
have
not
a
hear?
new? I have one called voiceovers. This is the old one, but if you see, they're all on. There's like 3 of them, but the newest one is called Voiceovers: Everything You Want to Know About Making Money in the Business. I really like to help people
that's good.
Live all over the country and want to break in. There's so many different genres in this world, that people don't realize. There's the promo world, what you can do non-union. We didn't get into FICOR, but there's so different worlds. But it's a very interesting thing with what's going on with AI for sure.
You can see it. Terri is like a resource on the economics of the business and everything else. Kim, do you have anything before I dismiss the witness, please?
I need to buy her books, because it's funny to me how people think they can do voiceovers, so many people say it's like working in radio, right? Oh, I could do that. If you can speak, you can do it. And they don't understand that there's a whole science to it. There's a whole, there's a lot more than just opening your pie hole and trying to read the lines. So there's the book. Yeah.
Oh, there's the book.
Really
nice
cool.
job, Tony.
So I'm interested in what you have to say. Yeah, awesome.
All right. Make money with your voice.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So much fun. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah.
Great visit. We'll do it again. Terri Apple, everybody. Thanks, Terri. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.